Hey guys, so this is going to be my list of recommendations for top 5 comics that I would recommend for beginner readers for teens. So just keep in mind, this is just my opinion. These are just my recommendations. I haven't read every comic book that's ever come out, but from the ones that I have read throughout the years, these are just some top 5 that I would really recommend if you're just starting out. And they're easily digestible. They're easy to get into. You don't really need any previous knowledge about comic books. You can kind of go in dark and still enjoy these stories. So anyway, let's get started. The first one I'm going to recommend, and he just had a movie come out recently too, is Shazam. Now, this is the new 52 volume of Shazam, so this is just kind of reimagining of his story, because he previously came out as like a virtual copycat of Superman, like the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, somewhere around there. And so his origin story was kind of dated. So whenever they did the new 52 relaunch, they just kind of did away with all of that and just retold this story through a modern lens. So, and it kind of does away with a lot of classic tropes and kind of has its own original spin, but yet still very family friendly and very inspirational too. But it is kind of a classic tale of this kid that essentially has the powers of Superman, and it's just really fun. That's the best word I would use to describe this comic, because it's just fun. Now, another one that I would really recommend in number 4 is Green Lantern Secret Origins. Now, this is written by Jeff Johns, and he's one of the best comic book writers out there, and he loves all these old, golden aged, and silver aged comic book superheroes. And this is a origin story about Hal Jordan, which is like one of the most famous Green Lanterns out there. But he doesn't really get enough credit, and I guess in modern media. But his retelling of this old, some would say outdated superhero is kind of like a clash between Star Wars meets Superman, really. And it's just really fun, and you really get to see more in depth on what it is to be a Green Lantern. They're kind of more of a space cop, and like with the Jedi and everything. It's just really cool, and it's like a sci-fi superhero adventure. Number 4, and I think everyone out here would probably really like this one a lot if you haven't read it already, is Batman Hush. Everyone loves Batman. He's the greatest detective of all time, and this is just a secluded story of just a case that he's working on, and it's about this new villain that's coming out that's kind of just really kind of ruining his life. And it's just really interesting to see, if no one has ever really read a Batman comic, his monologues, his internal monologue that you see in the panels are just the best. And just seeing how he reasons on figuring out a case and how he really fights villains and how he interprets clues, and it's just really cool. But yeah, I definitely recommend that you check this out. Now, another one that kind of deals with Green Lantern, and one of the best, arguably best comic books that ever came out, is Blackest Night. And this is a little more in depth, so you kind of, you might get a little lost just kind of jumping into it, but still, like I said before, you can still read it without really knowing anything and still kind of figure everything out. You'll just be a little lost in the beginning, but it kind of involves the the whole DC universe of the Justice League, and heroes that have, from very popular heroes to not so popular superheroes and villains, and it deals with a lot with the Green Lantern Corps. It really kind of made the significance of this new at the time core of Black Lanterns this more sinister force, and it's just really cool to watch it unfold. It was like it's hard to describe. I don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely recommend that you read it. It's one of my favorites of all time. You have to check it out. But this next comic book is probably my favorite of all time, not just comic books, but just stories in general, of my favorite superhero, so I'm probably a little bit biased, but of Superman Birthright. And it's just, I know a lot of people don't like Superman. I know a lot of people say he's lame, but he's not. I promise you, just read it. You'll figure it out. He's so cool. It's a modern lens of the Man of Steel, and it really goes into depth on how he's just a good person for the sake of being a good person, that nothing really had to happen for him to be who he is. He was just nurtured and loved. And it's very inspirational, and I can't recommend it enough, and I hope you check it out. I know there's a lot of time on everybody's hands, and this is one of my favorite childhood pastimes. It still is. I'm just getting back into it. Just making this video made me want to reread all of these. So please check them out. And I thank you for your time.